Riddle me this, viewers. What do you do when you schedule a game of Vampire the Masquerade and only one person shows up?
Hello.
You play some goddamn Vampire the Masquerade. So yeah, it's exactly what happened. Only one person showed up. Luckily, we were in a segment of the Chronicle where everybody was kind of just doing their own thing anyway. So this really couldn't have happened at a better time. I'm going to play a one-on-one session with Mark Zantz, and please do stick around because I truly believe you are about to see some of the best role-playing this channel has ever done. Because one, you're getting an undiluted access to Mark Zantz. And number two, I have absolutely no idea where this is going to go. This whole session is going to be me winging it by the seat of my pants. Which, I actually, if you're comfortable doing it as an ST, I can't recommend that enough. Because it's those little challenges. You got to play on hard mode every once in a while. That's how you get better, I think. So, I'm doing the ST boss rush tonight. And we'll see where this goes. Mr. Mark Zantz, please do remind our good audience of what happened last time on Rise of the Free States.
Last time, I believe we were leaving the rant where the Anarchs of LA pretty much unanimously voted to make not literal Dracula, but somebody who claims to be Dracula who looks exactly like Bela Lugosi, King of the Anarchs of LA. And rather than slumping with my tail between my legs, I decided to go convince him to do something with that, as I so slyly used my words.
Yeah, you ventured it super hardcore, and it was a fantastic move.
I was trying to convince him. I was trying to convince what I'm assuming is Bela Lugosi turned into a vampire, that rather than acting as an actual king of the Anarchs, that he should try to use his power to put McNeil as a Shadow King or Baron of the Anarchs. And I'm basically trying to use this horrible situation to put Mark Zantz up in the world.
Once again, very venture of you. Okay.
So I would like to point out, though, that while I am the only one here other than Chaz, obviously, there were extraneous circumstances that pretty much prevented everybody else from showing up. So it
wasn't just a we don't want to be here.
It was literally one of those one thing after another kind of situations. But here we are.
All right. So I believe when last we left Mark Zantz, you were at the Universal movie lot with Lord Dracula. Is that where you still wish to be?
I believe I was leaving because I needed to actually try to I was going to set him up a home in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
So I'm probably doing that as I'm... I think I went in with Virginia. So Virginia and I are walking out, and I'm basically going to start discussing... I'm going to start instructing her to start where in the neighborhood to start looking for property. Obviously, we need things where it's probably a little more isolated, probably something literally up on the hill where people aren't going to be peeking in on Dracula.
Okay, so first of all, let me just say, you wonderful, beautiful people, Glenn, Yusuf, Mazzy, Executioner, 2783, we love you, thanks for being here. Mark, my biggest asset is in my pants, Zantz. I told you I have a much harder time doing this with Carlo. So here's what I'm going to have you do. Because this is focused on you and I am largely just a narrator, you've got the driver's seat right now. I'm going to mostly be reacting to you kind of LARP style, if you will.
Okay.
So go ahead and tell me what you're going to do. You're instructing Virginia where to look for places to put Dracula. But what is you, Mark, actually doing?
Right now, I'm probably telling my driver to actually start driving up to the hills, as I'm going to start looking at ideal properties. Like I said, I want something that's a little isolated. Preferably, I'd like for there to be no inhabitants, but I'm willing to work around people living at the ideal property. And and I may have to convince some people to sell their house to me. But that's what dominating presence are for.
All right. The driver begins rolling through the expansive Beverly Hills. It's a quiet night. so far removed from the rest of LA, so far removed from the rant just hours previous. It's a bit of a serene moment, a zen moment, as the world seems to recede back into civilization. Whether it's wearing a mask, whether if this is actually it's the true state of the pond before the ripples start. I suppose that's up to you. There are several places that will fit the bill if you just want someplace sort of secluded and exclusive. The Beverly Hills is rather sparse at this point, so it's a lot of mansions separated by interstices of land, then another mansion. What in particular are you looking for?
So like I said, I'm looking for something isolated, preferably something high elevation wise that would allow particular vantage points to look down, as I may end up having to take shelter in Dracula's castle should push come to shove, as well as something that fits the majesty of the Lord of the Night.
Mark Zantz always one step ahead.
Yeah, I wish to make sure that this is going to not only work like on a literal level, but I may need to increase Dracula's influence. And in order to do that, I want him to fit the bill as much as possible. So I need that high house on the hill that we can then spookify.
Okay. Your driver slowly starts climbing the winding streets. And eventually, you do see something. It's quite palatial. Fluted columns reach up to a second floor and a third that overhang this wide balcony. A road leads up to a gate, and beyond the gate, the path to the door is flanked by all sorts of rather expensive-looking and perhaps non-native plants, these lovely flowering ferns that extend just an inch away from the asphalt so as not to scrape the no doubt expensive cars that would be traversing its length. As it catches your eye, however, you do notice that there are some lights on inside.
Is there any chance I can roll like a local politics to see if I know who lives here?
There's every chance in the world. Go ahead and roll.
Like if it's intelligence politics?
Sure.
I have 7 dice.
7 dice, so go ahead.
2 successes. Not a fantastic roll, I got 2 ones.
2 successes. So this place belongs to... He's basically... I'm searching for the proper term. More or less an inheritance kid. His dad was super well connected in the business world. Died recently of a heart attack, you believe. And he moved up to take his place. He's got a lot of connections himself now, thanks to Daddy. And he'd probably be missed if things were to go awry.
Any chance that I might have met him at one of my contacts' parties?
Roll percentile dice.
As I'm specifically thinking of Randall Grant, my Hollywood producer friend, who basically supplies me with hookers and blow. 10%.
10%. Yeah, you've probably seen him in passing. Well, we'll say his name is... What's a good, strong CEO name? But maybe not the CEO himself. He's not William, he's Billy. Billy... The only thing I can come up with is Stevenson. So yes, Billy Stevenson of Stevenson Industries. So he's, despite being young money, he hasn't quite adjusted to it the same way his father did. Having access to a nearly unlimited bank account and not the foresight to use it properly, he has mostly been spending most of that money on hookers, blow, Hollywood parties, rubbing shoulders with celebrities and less savory shorts. So yeah, you've seen this guy around once or twice. William Tyson, you were thinking. Tyson is better. That makes him sound like a chicken mogul, but we'll go with that. Billy Tyson, yes. We will take our chat's advice when they give us something better than we thought of.
I was gonna say that Tyson family probably has a lot of money. They don't have Walton money, but I'm assuming Tyson money's pretty big money.
I mean, who's got money in the 50s? The Macy's? The Cox? Kroc, that's the one, the guy who owns McDonald's.
Yeah. I don't think McDonald's is a big
Although
thing
the Koch family has just tons of money right now too. Been around over a century, so it must be up there, yeah.
So here's my current plan.
Now I will
So
point
knowing
out,
who... Yes.
this is the most ideal place you've seen tonight. You could always try to find something easier, or, like the venturer you are, you could visualize your number one goal and move in on it.
That's exactly what I plan on doing. So my plan right now is to head back home. Having seen the ideal property, knowing who owns it. I could try calling on him, but that's probably going to look a little weird or suspicious, so my plan is to tell my driver to go ahead, head back to my property.
Right
And I'm
away,
gonna
sir.
go-
Are we? Was there anything you wanted to accomplish while we're out here?
No, I'm just scouting out the properties. I need to make some new acquisitions.
Understood, sir. Right away. And as he has been trained to do many times, he will make a very graceful curve and begin winding down the sloping roads from whence he came. You return to your boat, everything much to the same you left it. Virginia does not greet you at the door, also to be expected, as she's probably still hard at work on the tasks that you gave to her.
Yeah. Well, she was also with me when I went to go visit Dracula.
Oh, that's true. So, was she in the car with you? I assumed you had left her behind.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I had taken her to go meet Dracula, Lord of the Night.
I am super good at being ST.
Yeah. As my ghoul and a potential child, she needs to see what I didn't get to see when I was a Ventru, and that's just the absolute batshit weird stuff you start to see as a vampire that the other Ventru never tell you about. They don't tell you about the ghost, the werewolves, the Malkavians who think they're Dracula.
You're such a responsible dad. Like all the other like stuck-up ventures, like yes, mind my assets, and you're okay, kid. I need to prepare you for the world.
Here's what they didn't teach me. Well, it's like that.
Girl, there's some weird shit out here.
Yeah, well, it's like that one book, like everything they didn't teach you in business school.
Not something I'm familiar with, but you're welcome to extrapolate if you wish.
It's basically that. It's like practical business, except in this case, practical business is like, here are the weird vampires that supposedly have some kind of weird hive mind.
You're in charge of them now. Good luck.
So my plan once I get home is to go ahead and...
Well, again, you're driving, so you're driving this plot. You tell me what to do.
Yeah, I'm getting home, and I'm going to go ahead and call Randall Grant. I'm going to try to ring him up at his residence, and even though it's probably like, 11 or 12 at night right now, I'm assuming he's still up, considering he is probably either working late into the night or probably consuming four said hookers and blow.
Yeah. Phone rings a couple times. The receiver lifts. Hello? There's some loud rock and roll music in the background, and you can hear several other voices, but for the most part, you can hear him pretty well.
Randy, it's me, Mark.
Oh, Mark! Hey, what's up, buddy? You need some stuff?
Oh, not right now, Randall. Or not right now, Randy, but I was wondering if you could perhaps put me in contact with somebody, maybe have a little get-together and make sure both of us are invited.
Anything's possible, Zantz, buddy, but, might need some time on that. Who are we talking about?
Billy Tyson. You know, the,
Tyson, yeah. Less of a taste for coke these days. He's moving into some hard stuff. Yeah, I can get Tyson. He's pretty easy. What do you need Tyson for? I never thought he was in your league, to be honest.
let's just say I'm currently eyeing his property.
Okay, I'm not like a realtor or nothing. I can't give you much advice, but, best of luck.
Luck has nothing to do with it.
I like you, Zantz. You're, what do they call it? A go-getter. Yeah, when do you want to meet Tyson?
Tonight would be preferable, but I can wait till at least tomorrow night.
Ooh, tonight might be hard. Let's just say I already dropped off a shipment of merchandise with Tyson. He's probably going to be good for a while, but might have a better chance tomorrow night, maybe day after that. I don't know. We'll see how long his self-control holds out.
Also, one more thing.
Anything for you, buddy?
I was wondering if you were thinking of producing any war movies. You know, I throw a little bit of my money around at some of the at some of these productions, and I'd like to see a good war movie, and I haven't felt like I've seen anything that really caught my eye on the silver screen. What I'm really thinking of is throwing some funding behind a war movie with a real war hero as the star. You know, I hear there's a lot of those former special forces military guys, some of those frogmen or whatever you called them, acting as stunt doubles. I know I'm not exactly the producer type, but when a man wants to see a good movie and he wants to see it made, might as well pay for it himself.
What is it, 12 o'clock? You pick some weird times to talk about marketing. I guess. The market kind of got flooded with war stuff after World War II, but if we spend the marketing budget just right, we could probably do it. Audie Murphy, still a hot ticket, right? He's still America's sweetheart, a little bit, at least for people that remember. So we target that demographic, and we could make it work. Get enough word of mouth going. Maybe slide a couple bucks to the right people in the press. What sparked this idea?
It's like I said. I have my own private theater at home, and I was just going through some of the old war films, and like I was saying, I want to see something real, something gritty. And well, when you have money like I do, and you live in Hollywood, anything's possible.
Well, Zant's hardest part is securing funding, and if you're willing to put it up, then I'd say let's make it happen.
One thing, though, I would like to have some say in the star of the movie. Like I said, I want something real, something gritty on the silver screen. Like I said.
I like it. Passion. Yeah, no problem. I can make sure you're at the auditions.
Let's get a real war hero in there.
Now, see, we could do that, but the issue is war heroes, they don't teach you acting on the front lines.
That's what I'm saying. Let's pull in one of those stunt guys that we know served 10 years ago. They know how to fall off a horse. I'm sure they can learn how to spit a couple of lines. God knows John Wayne barely knows how to act. Plays himself in every goddamn film.
You don't think they'll be a little old for the part?
You can find a young guy like Audie Murphy. He might be pushing 35, but he still looks like he's 20-something.
Yeah, I can give this a shot. So what, you want me to line up a couple guys and see how they do?
Yeah, and you let me know when those auditions are. As you know, I tend to keep late up at night.
I'm sorry, Yusuf got me. You need to hold the fucking phone there, Pilgrim.
I'm telling you, man, fucking out of character, John Wayne literally just played himself in every movie. Also, fun fact, apparently he hated horses.
What a weird genre to be typecast in if you hate, like, one of the main staples of that genre.
It's kind of funny because everybody assumes John Wayne was just like he was in those movies, but from what I read, he was very much like just a regular Hollywood actor kind of guy who had a tough persona.
I buy it.
And that's what I'm asking of my ally. I'm asking him to perhaps put me at a party with Mr. William Tyson, and get some auditions going. I'm looking for some more potential ghoul/child potentials.
I like it. I like it. See, this is one of the reasons why it's so cool to ST for Mark Zantz in a way that I never really got from like the Black Snow Prince or anything, is because Zantz is always like 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. And so with you, I really feel like I'm playing like a high level vampire game, and when I was playing with Black Snow Prince, it was more like Big Eyes Small Mouth. Also a White Wolf game. But not quite the same.
I was gonna say they bought that one, didn't they?
No, I think that was always theirs.
I'm pretty, because I when I was reading the 3rd edition, I think like 1st and 2nd might have been made by it was owned by the creator, and then he sold it to White Wolf.
Okay.
And then I think he actually published the newest edition under White Wolf. So he still doesn't own it, but he was able to publish the new edition he'd secretly been working on for like the past 5 years or something.
That's pretty cool. What's your contact's name again? The one you just talked to?
My Hollywood producer contact, who I typically go to his parties and throw some of my money around, is Randall Grant.
Okay. So you wanted to set up a party. See, usually when there's more people, I can rely on them to make noise, and the audience doesn't notice when I'm taking notes. But now, just fucking dead air. Okay, gonna have to be better.
You gotta just keep talking as you're writing notes, and try not to write what you're talking.
Set up a party with. Oh, god damn it! I just did it. I had one job and I failed. How are you today, Josh?
I'm doing all right.
That's awesome. Why are you doing all right?
I'm not dead yet.
I suppose that is oddly optimistic for you. How are you, chat? You two are deeply amusing. Thank God, man. Thank God. I always like... What's the word? I always wonder if I can carry the show by myself whenever I stand up. I like to think I'm at least mildly entertaining, which is why I do this, but deeply amusing is higher than I was shooting. Glenn Couch spent $300 just talking to women, if that makes you feel better, though it was lovely. Raise the music volume when you think. Glad to hear it. I will continue doing so. That sounds like a get out of jail free card. Okay. Yeah, don't worry about it, Zantz. I'll get it done. So yeah. Tyson guy, you want to lead for a war movie. Listen, what kind of budget are we talking about? What kind of like timeline did you have for this? When did you want to see it open?
What month is it currently?
I believe it is. I said it was currently August-ish. Might be like June or July. It's in the summer.
So it's the end of summer. So we can't have a summer.
If I go through this, then I will find out where I wrote that down. Unfortunately, that's going to lead towards more dead air. Maybe. I have these colored tabs on my shit, and it's literally worthless.
I'm trying to think how long it used to take to produce movies back then. Like, if you were to literally throw like tens of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars, or the equivalent Basically, if you threw Avengers money at a movie back then, you were producing fucking, what was it? Fucking that movie with the. You're basically producing something like a historical epic.
Sound of Music or something.
Yeah. And so I will tell Randall that I'm willing to throw a couple of million as long as I get to choose the lead and have some say in the lead, and he is the primary producer on the film. So I'm at least I'm not quite throwing Cleopatra money at it.
A few million is nothing to sneeze at. Still, this is still the fucking 50s.
Yeah.
Thanks, Executioner. We appreciate it.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I'll make it happen, man. It's your dime. You can pick whoever you want.
I think movies back then probably took like 3 to 4 months to produce, and then maybe another month or two to edit and everything.
That's kind of the time frame that I had in my head, but I have absolutely nothing to back that up.
Yeah, yeah, because it's not like nowadays where like God, I'm trying to think. I don't know my film history as well, and my film history buff friend is not here. Because even nowadays, we occasionally have like big budget movies that get filmed in like 1 to 3 months.
Really? That I didn't know,
Yep.
because it takes them like 6 months to do a fucking Pixar film.
Oh yeah, but that's because of animation time and stuff like that. Like I said, it depended on the movie. But I think like a big historical epic, even that would take maybe 6 to 8 months of actual filming.
I had no idea. But that's cool to know. It's amazing how little I actually know about the time period that I'm STing for. In my defense, it always ends up being corner case stuff, but...
You were not expecting for film history to get thrown into your chronicle, basically.
Word to the wise. You really don't need to know jack shit about the setting in order to ST. It's a lot easier than you think. It still blows me away. There's still so many people that, I hear from, they're like afraid to ST. And it's like, literally, I was just in a position where if I didn't do it, nobody else would. And I did it. Christopher Lee is out here having fun. That is true. Christopher Lee is still being... Is he Dracula yet? In the 50s? Yeah, wait. I think the first Hammer Dracula was... the 60s, wasn't it? He will be in 4 years. Got it. Yep. I was technically correct, which is the best kind of correct.
I'm trying to see how long it actually took to film something like Cleopatra. Because obviously, once again, I'm not paying Cleopatra money. That movie cost $31 million in the 50s or 60s.
That's insane.
And they almost bankrupted Fox, from what I remember.
No shit.
Yeah.
What's the conversion rate? That has to be a couple billion.
It came out in 1963.
Okay. What did you say? It was $31 million?
Yes.
In 1956 is... adjusted for inflation... Oh, that's 31,000. Well, adjusted $31,000 is $297,246 in 2020. So if you multiply that by 10, good lord, that's $29 billion. Adventure of Pluto Nash bad. Hey, I actually enjoyed the Adventure of Pluto Nash. Then again, I probably wasn't old enough to know what good movies were when I saw it, so that's my defense. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I'm not throwing $300 million behind it. I'll probably throw like $5 million behind the potential production. Obviously, to Mark Zantz, that's somewhat peanuts money still, but obviously, if I pick the actor, as I want this person to be a potential ghoul, somebody with the social skills who's an actual former war hero would be a very good ghoul / potential child.
100%. Yeah, Yusuf, I'll go with what you said because I'm an English guy, not a math guy. So, you all the way. Do you ever feel bad just like being our fact checker most of the time, Yusuf? Like we're just wrong about literally everything and then you come to save the day. I feel like we take advantage a little bit.
As a fun fact, we were discussing something from my Dark Ages Chronicle, and I won't specify what it was, but a certain issue came up, and I believe Xavier privately messaged Yusuf to ask what the actual historical situation would have been.
Oh yeah.
And he gave us an answer, or he gave Xavier an answer. Well, thank you, Yusuf. We really appreciate it. It's like, I don't need Audie Murphy as a ghoul, but having Audie Murphy as a ghoul would be top tier. But any war hero who's also an actor would be very excellent.
Better than being the
that's what
porn
I'm setting
guy.
up.
At least he can tell polite company what he does. Glenn, we love you. I don't know what you're talking about. You have... How do I put this? You have given us probably one of the single coolest contributions that we've ever had. So, you be proud of you. A patron of the arts. See, Yusuf knows what's up.
Yeah, I think that's the end of my conversation with Mr. Randall Grant.
5 million. All right. Yeah, I'll get it done. When do you want to do auditions?
This week.
All right. Yeah, sometimes this week I'll make it happen. So yeah, I got some hookers and they're like on the clock. So I'll talk to you later, there, Zantz. But yeah,
you
thanks
have
for
fun.
the call, buddy.
Hopefully, we'll make a lot of money with this.
We'll make some business happen. Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't get Cleopatra.
Well, nobody wants to be Cleopatra, so let's not do that. Bye. Click. And you are left to your machinations once more.
This is so interesting because usually somebody would be sucking dick or shooting up a place at this point.
Right? Like, this might be the first serious game of Vampire ever played. It feels weird, doesn't it?
I might be being too productive as a Ventrue. This is almost like... What happens when the Ventrue is no longer bogged down by his weird Giovanni friend and not being killed by one of his coterie members? So something else I did promise.
Holy shit. We're actually playing the game that White Wolf intended us to play.
I'm gonna have to do something silly at some point. I also made a promise to another one of my contacts that I should probably address.
Freddie Sitar, how's it going?
Hello.
Sorry, as you were saying?
Oh no, I did promise my Wraith contact, Jack Parsons, that I would, in exchange for his help with Jabril in the Frenzy, I told him I would start getting in contact with the IRS and start chasing down Mr. L. Ron Hubbard about some of his tax evasion and things of that like.
Okay, interesting. Let's do that. Now, I don't believe that Zantz has any particular contacts within the IRS.
No.
So this is going to be pretty interesting to see how you do this sort of grassroots from the ground up.
I also think it will be interesting because I am not sure how I would go about this.
Aha, and see, normally you'd have time to think, well, somebody sucked dick or shot up a place. But no, all on you!
So I am in doubt about whether the IRS in the 1950s is currently open at midnight, or whether I would even be able to get into contact with somebody.
I would probably imagine not. That's probably something you would, what's the word I'm looking for? Relegate to your ghouls?
Yes. So now that Virginia has finished up her business of securing a Sears, or what was it, a Macy's that I bought for Jabril?
It was a Sears, I think.
Okay, I bought him a Sears.
Wait, hang on. I have that on this other page here. Mark Zantz buys a Sears and fires every.
Yep. Okay, so I did buy him a Sears. She finished that acquisition. I believe she also finished getting the. She finished getting Carla his car. So I'm gonna tell her that during the day, she needs to get in contact with the IRS. Preferably tell them that I would like to. trying to say, how would I put this? Because I'm assuming the IRS isn't just going to let me walk in there. But if I'm going to tell her to get me in contact with an IRS agent to come to the house around the time I'll usually be waking up tomorrow morning in order to discuss some discrepancies with the business I've been working with.
Does the IRS make house calls?
I have no idea, but I'm sure she can be persuasive enough. I'm going to tell her if they will not come, use any sort of wiles or social manipulation required of you. I will tell her to start off as a representative of my estate in order to go over some paperwork and some discrepancies between a business we've been working with that is trademarked by a Mr. Hubbard. And I'm assuming that once she throws out the fact that she's working for, I'm assuming Zantz Industries or Zantz Incorporated or Zantz Finances. I'm not sure exactly what I would call my personal LLC at this point.
If he pays millions in tax, they'll surely make a house call. You're probably right, Yusuf.
Tell her I'm going to tell Virginia. Virginia, contact the IRS and tell them that you are a representative of Zantz Incorporated or LLC or however I currently have it registered, and that there are some discrepancies between a particular business that we've been dealing with associated with a Mr. Hubbard, and that if they could come to the personal residence where we have many of the tax documents currently in-housed.
All right, I'll have it done. I think I can be persuasive enough for that. He's just a corporate fall guy.
It's like at some point I'm going to have to make Virginia get some kind of degree in financial law so she can actually be like, oh yes, I am the representative. Do not ask questions about my degrees or certifications.
I mean, if you have a woman as your representative, let's be honest, you've probably got a good couple of decades before people stop asking questions about that. Maybe by the 80s, society's open-minded enough.
So those are, 2 or 3 of my plans that I've been working on. And those are going to have to wait until the next night. And obviously we can't allow too much time to pass. Due to the fact that, I'm assuming we don't want time to pass between what I'm doing and what the rest of the coterie is currently doing while this is happening.
Hey Glenn, I take no joy in it either, man. It is a sad fact that I am giving voice to.
So assuming I haven't dismissed my driver for the night, I'm assuming it's going to be time to
I assume this is just the normal time he's on the clock. Like your driver just has a graveyard shift and doesn't question it.
Oh yeah, basically. I'm assuming somebody else probably drives Virginia around during the actual daylight hours. But business never stops. The sun never sets on Zantz Industries, except it's literally set on it all the time.
Again, sounds like a true venture. I mean, Marcus Vittel, well, he was technically a Lasombra, but he actually managed to get Washington, D.C. into such a state. He had so many systems and fail-safes working together that they kept going after he was dead. You're not wrong, Glenn. Lest we forget, or what is it? Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it.
What is it? We're still a decade away from Nichelle Nichols starring in or being one of the primary cast members of Star Trek.
I never thought about that. Was that a big deal back then?
I think that was one of the first times that an African American woman was portrayed on television, and she wasn't in some kind of subservient role. Yep. Okay. Glenn and Yusuf are the confirmation.
I mean, fair enough. I just kind of always grew up with her being Uhura, but
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily just she wasn't she was one of the primary commanders on the Enterprise, so she wasn't in a subservient role in addition to her being black and a woman.
her plus Kirk's kiss was the first interracial kiss ever on television. Wow, go Gene Roddenberry. She was asked by Martin Luther King, wasn't King dead at that point? I thought King got shot in 1968.
Martin Luther King and Star Trek existed at the same time, Chaz. It's a fantastic thing to think about. But yeah, she was about to quit the show in order to pursue her theater career when she had a conversation about this topic with, I suppose, one of her acquaintances being Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King persuaded her not to quit the TV show due to how important her representation was on television to black women everywhere.
That is incredible. I had no idea.
Well, a little bit of nerd history for you, Chaz.
Hey, good job, Lieutenant Uhura. You did good things.
Yeah, with that, I think I'm going to make a house call on Mr. Fortier to probably see what his thoughts were on the current situation, or where he plans on taking things from here.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I would never allow Mark Zantz Yusuf to interfere with Mr. Rogers. I'm willing to step in to dip his fingers or dip his toes into several terrible historical events, but not Mr. Rogers. Some things are sacred.
Mark Zantz funded Mr. Rogers, and then instantly went. That's how he got to Golconda. Just instant humanity 10.
Yeah, I do know specifically what Yusuf is referring to. The time that I think it was in front of Congress that Mr. Rogers went to go give a speech about why they shouldn't cut funding to PBS, and the guy in charge of the committee was very, very pro. Almost completely had his mind set on cutting the whole thing until Mr. Rogers went and gave his speech.
Why is it that whenever money runs dry, the first thing people try to cut is like cultural enrichment type stuff? Like, serious question. Like, that's any kind of knowledge or education or art programs or music, that's always the first thing. Well, we don't really need that.
Are you pulling up your Louis Fortier reference?
I'm actually looking for some other stuff, but you're 100% good to go.
As I'm telling my driver to take me to the French Quarters, as I will jokingly refer to them.
The French Quarters. Well, I mean, you were previously in the neighborhood. So, yes sir, right away. Good thing we've got that private gas pump, huh?
Oh man, I hope so. That fucking Phantom probably eats gas like a fucking dinosaur.
I know, it takes a whole nickel to fill it up. In about 20 minutes, the car's gassed up and ready. And you find yourself at the front gate of Louis Fortier's Beverly Hills home. Unlike the other one, unlike Mr. Billy Tyson's, his is fairly dark. Again, as per usual, at this time of night there might be one light twinkling away in the study. But the outside edifice, for all the world to see, is entirely black. Wait, hate who? What did we do? I mean, probably something, but I'm just wondering what it was. What do you do? Oh, the nickel for gas.
Oh. I'm assuming, I don't know, were buzzers a thing right now? Or does he just have like a gate and like a doorman?
I'm pretty sure like buzzers and intercom existed. I mean, you had the telephone. It's not a terrible technological leap.
I'll go ahead and ring the buzzer then, and I'm assuming one of the servants or one of the ghouls are going to answer.
Well, you would instantly recognize the voice of one of Louis' childer, his brides, Catherine Dubois. Can I help you?
Got the it's Zantz. I wish to speak with Mr. Fortier about the other night's events if he's available.
Oui, he's had this on his mind for a while. I think he would make time for you. At which point the gates will start slowly sliding open.
In which case, the Phantom is rolling up to the French quarters.
As you sort of roll up to the front porch, a manservant, very, very well dressed in a finely tailored tuxedo, will sort of extend his hands for the keys to sort of valet park the Phantom. Your driver will sort of look at you quizzically for confirmation.
I'll tell the man the tuxedo that he's perfectly capable of parking and just direct him.
Very good, sir. And he'll sort of motion to the garage as he holds the door open for you to enter. You
I'll
enter.
Go ahead and kind of straighten my suit out and everything.
You enter, your heels clicking on the immaculately clean tile floor. It's not every day that the realization strikes you. But as you were just looking at Billy Tyson's place, now entering what is essentially the crypt of a vampire, it's different. This place seems empty, in a way, almost soulless, cold. There's another set of footsteps. Clicking down the stairs is Miss Dubois, very elegantly dressed in not quite an evening gown, but not quite anything that might resemble pajamas either. A long, flowing sort of number. It descends down the stairs looking almost wraith-like in her milk-white pall. Monsieur Zantz, I trust your trip here was quite safe. It is dangerous on the streets tonight, no?
Oh, I like to hope I'm one of the more dangerous things out there.
Wouldn't we all? Hopefully Lord Dracula is doing something to keep the peace. And as she speaks, she will sort of motion for you to follow her up the stairs.
Well, I'm assuming I brought Virginia with me. Is it more normal for her to come with me if I visit Louis, or is it more normal for her to like wait in the foyer or something?
It's up to you.
I'll have
She's
her
a
follow.
ghoul. She's on the team, so and Venture we're used to having servants around, so
Yeah, I'll take her with me then. It is time you see how the Venture. Well, I'm sorry, she's seen this before, obviously. This is the standard Venture stuff we do.
she leads you
And
up
then
the stairs. Sorry.
No, I'll say I'm following Gotti up the stairs.
She leads you up the stairs to a rather nondescript wooden door just off of the second floor landing hallway. As she pushes it open, there's a lovely scent of really rich cigar tobacco that sort of wafts out into the hallway. The coldness of the whole estate is pushed away slightly. It's a bit warmer in here, but only very slightly. As I said, this is still a crypt. You can see the figure of a man, a silhouette, Louis, as he stares out of a window, standing by an empty, darkened hearth. He turns toward you as the door creaks open. Ah, Monsieur Zantz, Mademoiselle. He'll take her hand and kiss it. Please do make yourself comfortable. What can I do for you tonight?
I wish to discuss the previous night's events. We can...
This is a previous night. What a fucking farce! And he will literally pick up a glass from his desk and throw it. Catherine will move to clean it, and he'll just wave her away.
Shit, it's cool to break stuff in here. I try to remember. When you think of Louis, do you think of the picture of that he has in the book, or do you imagine the Vitesse art that he has? Because they're different, aren't they?
Well, the book came first to me, so I have that one programmed into my head. But does it matter? I mean, you can imagine him however you want.
I'm trying to remember what he looks like.
I have a picture. Picture. Yeah. Thanks, Classic White Wolf. I think this was still the Tim Bradstreet era.
So he's got that sick 90s goatee.
Yes, please. Discuss the previous night. What is he saying? Misery loves company, no? And he sort of just slouches down in a very, very stuffed, plump velvet chair. The moonlight trailing through the window, cutting these jagged slashes of silver across his face.
Oh, as I'll sit down in a chair across from him, I'll motion Virginia to sit somewhere nearby. I'll tell him, well, I think we can both agree that things did not turn out optimally.
Is funny, no? I think our friend McNeil would say the same. I don't think it turned out precisely the way he thought it would either.
Well, how could he himself not be just a little disappointed in everybody's decision? It only reaffirmed his bias of the majority of the kindred within the city.
I wonder, Monsieur Zantz, if... Well, before I speak, I suppose it would only be polite to hear what you have to say on the matter. After all, you came all this way to speak to me. Please do.
I cannot say that I foresaw the outcome of that night. Nobody expects the third-party vote, I should say. But even when the stock market's crashing, I don't like to think that all of my investments have gone completely out the window.
He sort of nods along as you say this.
You grew up with the Anshan regime, didn't you? Even though sometimes there's a monarchy, such as under one Monsieur Jakul, as has been established now within the city. Many times the man who sits on the throne is simply a puppet for the people behind him. I don't like to think of myself as the man holding the strings of the marionette, but I do like to think that when proper application of words is applied, perhaps something can still come out of this.
This is true. I do not think the situation is lost either. I have had many years to get to know Monsieur McNeil. He is obstinate, yes, stubborn, of course, but mad? No, he is a reasonable man. A credit to his blood, I would say, if anything. Not many Bruja are so... What is the word I'm looking for? Amicable?
So I've heard it's been since Carthage.
Yes. And so few less would be willing to talk to us. I wonder, Monsieur Zantz, speaking of our blood and theirs, I wonder if we have misplayed our hand.
Well, how so? And perhaps we've only misplayed our hand depending on the game we're playing. Sometimes it's better to fold and see what the next hand brings you.
Hang on, phone's buzzing, making sure I'm not getting a phone call. Okay. Got it. How to say this? Sorry, Glenn. I had dearly hoped to leave such duplicity behind me when I left the Camarilla. I thought that perhaps this was a new era, but sometimes it is incumbent upon a leader to help those who may not want what is best for them, no?
Personally, I don't like the idea. I'll be honest with you. I too came here with dreams of freedom and a new era. I didn't like the way the Ventrue did things, the way they treated me for what I was as a mortal. But the fact is that the way things are is not sustainable. Unfortunately, sometimes Ventrue applications need to be applied.
So then, he will sort of raise from his seat. He opens a small cabinet beside his desk and pulls out this decanter of thick red liquid and two crystalline glasses. This is, I do not know that she was a gold digger perchance, but she had some rather expensive tastes. I don't think she would disagree with your palate. One for the lady tonight. Does she imbibe the, shall we say, normal blood?
Oh, I'm afraid she only imbibes of my blood as of now.
Ah. Then I do not wish to overstep. He will sort of place a crystalline glass before you. Fill yours first, then his. Then
I will attempt.
Huh?
Oh, what's up?
So then, for one night only, let us toast to the old ways. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I'll toast, and then as I try it, I'll tip it to my tongue, and if my gag reflex doesn't activate, I'll go ahead and keep it going. But if not, I'm gonna kind of politely spit it back into the glass and put it down.
It's not bad. It's not entirely your taste, but it's not awful garbage. It's more like a brand of caviar that you're not used to.
In that case, just poker faces. I try not to show any sort of displeasure to the imbibement.
Yeah, not terrible. Just it's Kmart brand blood. Okay, that's a super dated reference. Hell, we might have some people in the audience that don't even know what Kmart is.
I was gonna say I used to prefer it when my parents went to Kmart because when I was growing up, Kmart's had Little Caesars in them, and so it was dope to get Little Caesars while my parents shopped.
Kmart is still around, I think, but I think they've got like a handful of stores left.
Oh, Zantz's weakness is his refined palate is strictly for gold diggers.
Here's the way I see this. Maybe, in some strange way, in some practical joke of the Lord above, there's a chance, just a chance, that the proceedings of the previous night went closer in our favor than we think. The populace voted in a farce, a neonate, if nothing else, a absolutely mad one to further the issue.
Oh, I thought his movies were all right.
Zantz, it's not even the real actor, it's an impersonator. I digress. How do you think...
I will be somewhat shocked on the inside. As I desperately want to ask him how he knows that.
I mean,
A
you could if
copy
you
of a
want.
copy. I'm going to ask him how he knows that. As I kind of lean forward, ready to hear more about this funny Malkavian I've taken an interest in.
He just sort of smiles. We knew the mortals that was embraced. It was a simple matter of what is that children's game with the dots and you draw the line. You know to what I refer?
Is he
Connect
talking
the
about
dots, that one.
Yeah.
Yes, connect the dots. We found the man who was embraced. He was a Dracula impersonator. He plays the part for the tourists, like the women at the Disneyland that dressed like Snow White. He was one of them. I digress. I want you to imagine that you are McNeil right now, and you have these grand ideas: freedom, nobility, personal choice. And those that you are perhaps not trying to guide so much, but provide a space for, have willingly chose to shackle themselves to a joke. Let us call a spade a spade. How would you be feeling right now tonight?
Flaccid, inept,
Would you
powerless,
stand
and
for it?
perhaps a bit foolish.
Would you stand for it?
Me personally, probably not.
As I said, McNeil's a reasonable man. I say we should go to him again. We should speak to him. There may be a way we can both get what we want. McNeil would never take leadership himself. He would outwardly rebel against anyone who did. It would be another Camarilla. There might be other options. McNeil told me that when he was young, the Scotland of his birth was broken up into these, what did they call them? Baronies. They were broken up into these baronies, and the barons, they would rule their fief. There might be a way. We could remind him of this. We let him think he came up with it himself. It is the venturous thing to do, no?
Oh, yes, quite.
We will give him his barony. We will let him run it the way he sees fit. And he can let his small corner of Los Angeles descend into chaos however he wishes. The rest of us, most of whom have already carved out our territories, myself, Salvador, we will help each other solidify control, and therefore solidify peace, stability, and ensure a future for the free states that we have bled for. What say you to this, Monsieur Zantz?
I think this is the closest plan we're gonna get to something that works, and I hope, Is this still the same night that the werewolf attack happened?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. He doesn't know about that yet, then. I would be willing to help you, engage in this coronation, so to speak. But, and of course I'll do my best to convince my coterie. Of course, Jabril believes in, imposing some kind of order upon the city as his honor dictates, and if there's a god above, he knows. Carlo Martino needs all the help you can get. But, of course...
Who is he these nights?
I haven't seen him since, earlier. I'm not sure what he's up to.
Truth be told, I'm surprised he's made it this long. People like him are easily led. I'd keep an eye on him if I were you. An asset tonight, however. One never knows when he might be turned to counter objectives, shall we say. A charismatic tongue might even turn him against his own family.
Or perhaps a charismatic tongue could, elevate his place in that family. Oh no, Talquin, nobody knows what happened. That's...
Yeah.
Players know what happened, and we all thought that was a fun little romp. But, I don't know, the rest of the coterie doesn't know what happened. I would help you in this plan of, the baronation of the Free States. But, I would ask that you would support my own bid to become the Baron of Beverly Hills.
He sort of smiles. Well, Beverly Hills is a part of the territory I claim for myself. It is something we could negotiate, I suppose. However, I was going to say that you have been an invaluable ally to me thus far and continue to do so. I would ask nothing of you without offering something in return, and, well, the young are infatuated with Fieros. There are enough to know your name who would support you. I would say you would be a perfect choice for Baron. You need only tell me which parts of the city you like. You wish for Beverly Hills, truly? You wish to rule amongst this? There's little in the way of subjects.
I'll kind of look out the window and I'm like, well, this part of the city certainly does seem more your speed.
Where do you want Beverly Hills, Monsieur Zantz, if I may be so bold as to ask?
Well, I believe it's a developing area of the city with easy access to the kind of meals I prefer. But perhaps not Baron of Beverly Hills does not sound as quite so great an epithet after Zantz. Give me some time to think about it.
We will, I assume, be calling together the Revolutionary Council again to carve up the city properly, should this plan go through, but as I said, should we play our cards properly this time? I think, and as I said, we allow McNeil to think he came up with it himself. I see no reason why it shouldn't. There will be plenty of time to finalize your stakes on which territory you prefer, and I say that I will help you secure it, as I'm sure will Salvador, will McNeil, if we offer them the same in return.
In which case, I will extend my hand and say, I believe we have an agreement then.
Monsieur Zantz, he says as he grips it. It has been a relief I can scarcely describe to have the ability to count you amongst my allies. To not be... What is the expression? Yelling into the void, I think. Amongst so many Bruja and Gangrel and the ones who are so much harder to instill reason into.
Oh, you don't just have my support, but perhaps some unlikely support will be coming from the King of the Night himself.
Ah, yes. Lord Dracula. Thank you. I have popcorn. I will eat this popcorn at a later time, but I appreciate it very much. We will put that there.
You don't want to loudly eat it in front of the mic?
Just chomp it. Well, that'll kill the dead air. I mean, let's be honest, 2 birds with 1 stone. Yes, well, let us summon the Lord of the Night for help. We will give him his shitty little movie backlot to do with as he sees fit.
I will tell him that, while he may be the fool in our deck of cards, never discount the, or the jester as it may be, never discount the potential hand you can play with 1 in the deck.
The Joker is wild, no?
Yes. He may be able to galvanize some of the less sensible kindred amongst the city into perhaps listening to, if accidentally, to something reasonable.
So you have found yourself a new Murphy Fierro, is that it?
I suppose that's one way of putting it. It is not the Ventry's place to sit on the throne, I suppose, in the classical sense of our clan, but to whisper into the ear of the one who does. Sometimes it's the only way to ensure my own plans for this eternity are stable.
You are wise beyond your years, my friend. Whatever happened to Mr. Fierro? I get nostalgic for the old days when I see something on fire.
Oh, he's safely in San Diego.
Ah, Terra's domain. Interesting.
I suppose that would make him Terra's problem. In the distance, you think you're better than me?
Just the phone rings.
No, SeaWorld blows up in the background. I mean, it'll be funny when our coterie has to go do something diplomatic with the Anarchs in San Diego, only to find out that the Baron of SeaWorld is Murphy Fierro.
Just the Baron of fucking SeaWorld. Like, you have to get that as a joke. That's like being the Prince of the Broom Closet.
Well, until you find out that Fierro ghouled all the killer whales and floods downtown San Diego or something like that.
Yeah, he would do that. He would fucking do that, and all the fucking ghouled killer whales would be high on heroin.
It's too bad he's not a scientist. Because there were studies where people did things like give spiders acid just to see what would happen. But obviously nowadays it's not always easy to secure the proper channels to do stuff like that. But it's like, hey, what's the effects of heroin on a killer whale? Murphy Fierro will find out for you. And with that bit of business out of the way, I'm gonna ask Mr. Fortier if he was aware of tonight's happenings with the Game of Nines.
I've heard nothing about it. You are more than welcome to tell me.
Well, I went to investigate, and it seems the Lupines have finally gotten tired of our presence out in the desert.
This was bound to happen.
Ah, yes. Bound to happen. Nothing could have been done. Completely happened of natural accords. Do you think this would perhaps... You think perhaps this would serve to galvanize Mr. McNeil, or what do you think the Revolutionary Council is going to have to say about this when they find out that the encroaching numbers of neonates, unaware of the traditions as loosely as we follow them, are stirring up problems with beings that can be hard to control?
I could not begin to say. This was brought up at the meeting, no? And McNeil gave his survival of the fittest. I assume he would say roughly the same. Who, no, how to ask the question? What was it, who died? Not to put supine of a point on it. But it would behoove us to know which of our fair subjects were taken. How does Dark Ages Older Time Garou work at this point? Pretty much the same. Why? Was there something in particular that you were wanting to know?
Well, I'm not sure if you played Werewolf before, but they're not like vampires where they don't live forever. So, if anything, there's just more stuff that's been lost, right? Like, even in our Werewolf Dark Ages game, I have access to rights and stuff like that you can't get in the Modern Knights because they've been lost to time.
Oh, yeah.
As the Garou become diminished in number.
Yeah, they're very similar. The only difference is they're far more ubiquitous, and the worm has not... It doesn't have as much of a hold. It's still there. It's still very much there, but the worm and the weaver have not escalated to the point where they will be at the Modern Knights. So it's not quite... It's more like the shit hitting the fan and not quite like a Delta 5 shit tornado about to hit Grandma's China, as it is now.
Yeah, it's not quite 2 minutes to midnight yet.
Well, the worm too, because there's less pollution. There's less, I guess, industrialization that's poisoning the planet. There's more forests. There's more indigenous species. So yeah. But because there's so much more Garou and so much less enemy to fight, they end up fighting amongst themselves quite a bit for territory and whatnot. So there's a lot of, like, intra-nation squabbling.
And that's not even getting to the Wild West era. Or
that'd be a fun campaign. I actually have the book for that. We need to crack that open at some point.
Or even just playing during the Revolutionary period. Just because at that point when the old Silver Fangs and everybody come from old England,
Ooh.
and they see the Uktena and all them, and they're like, so much worm here.
Son of a
smells like
bitch.
worm.
I never thought about running that chronicle, but that sounds really fun.
I mean, isn't that what happens in the book? Is during like the 17th and 18th centuries, the European Garou come, and they see that the Uktena and the Wendigo do things a little differently, and then they're like, we're gonna have to take those cairns from you. Seems like you're not handling them properly with your weird Uktena rituals and whatnot.
Yeah. And there's like, there's worms all over the place, and the Uktena's like, yeah, we sealed them. What do you mean you sealed them? And then they fuck up the ritual and then release them, so... Yeah, the European werewolves fucked up a lot. The War of Rage has happened. I'm pretty sure the War of Rage is like kind of prehistory in werewolf. Like that's way in the back. Yeah, the Croatan would still be alive around like 1800s. Maybe 1700s. I think by the 1800s they're dead.
That'd be like the one time you could actually play a Croatan werewolf or Garou in a chronicle set in the Revolutionary War. Or probably even you'd have to play before that, because don't the Croatan pretty much go extinct because of Roanoke?
I'm not sure whether or not it ties into an actual historical thing, but they basically end up throwing themselves at a really, really powerful Bane Spirit, as in like one of the actual heads of the worm Bane Spirit, and they kind of do, like we were just talking about Warhammer 40k and the Space Marines, like anything to keep the Emperor alive for one more day. It was kind of one of that. So they lost an entire chapter of Werewolf Space Marines just to keep Gaia on the Golden Throne. I just realized that that's a really fucking tortured metaphor if you're not familiar with the lore of 40k, but super apt. Yeah, so the entire, I almost called them a chapter, the entire tribe of werewolves died to take down that head of the triad.
I think they do tie it in with Roanoke. I think they point that that's like the last stand of the Croatan was Roanoke. I could be wrong.
There's a book called Croatan Song. I'll have to get it. 40k and werewolf go together way too well. You're not wrong.
Yeah, they're called Space Wolves.
Ah! That was funny. I completely forgot what you and Louis were talking about.
We were talking about who died at the
yes.
werewolf attack.
That is true.
The ripped to shreds, you say, and his wife.
Wasn't
ripped to shreds, you say.
I thought the Eater of Souls was one of the was like one of the more powerful urge worms. I could be wrong. Valernos, how you doing?
Yeah, he was asking to me who died.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't see anybody notable die other than the guy that was putting the games of 9 together, right?
Yeah, more or less. Well, I mean, you know who you know died.
Yeah.
That's about it. So whether or not those people were notable to you is the crux. Vasil, how you doing, you beautiful person, you? Tell Nelly we say hi. Okay, that's... Yeah, I'm sorry. My werewolf lore is not as on point as my vampire lore, but there are 3 heads of the worm, right? I thought it was the Eater of Souls, the Urge Worm. There's like I said, I'll look at it later. I've got a first edition copy of that one worm book whose name escapes me at the moment. Anyway, vampire. Saw that only one person showed up and wanted to say hi. Oh, you're awesome, Vasil.
Yeah. We're not at quite Donovan Von D levels of cross splat, but technically werewolves have crossed over into this vampire game as well as wraiths. But strictly as allies. Or antagonists, I suppose. But yeah, I will. What was the guy's name? The one that Jabril was talking to. The one I didn't know his actual name, but I knew.
The Rake.
Yeah, the Rake. Yeah, I'll tell you. The only notable kindred I saw personally get ripped to shreds was a man going by the Nom de Plume, the Rake. He was the one setting together the games of 9s with the. Now I can't remember the other dude. El Serpente. Who I'm pretty sure also died. I can't. Is there any chance I saw him actually die?
I don't know actually. Yes, the aspects of the worm. Thank you, Tao Quinn, for salvaging me. That is what I was talking about. Vasil, we go a week, so I mean you're still welcome to vote on the last one. I'm behind is what happened. I missed a week of uploads, and then I just kind of upload them in a chunk. So I'm a week ahead or behind, or however you want to do it. I'm off by a week. So yeah, you can still vote on the last one. But in good news, I think I know who's going to win the vote for this session. Obviously, it's Adam. No worries, buddy. Glad you enjoyed it. The Rake, really?
I wasn't sure about his history or his purposes behind putting the games of 9s together, but I did see him at one point on fire and then ripped to shreds. It was rather hectic.
I've heard of him. He was the one. He was using the games of 9s to recruit.
So that was his purpose.
So what became of his gang?
I'm assuming also ripped to shreds. As I recall, what you said last time is probably like 100 people showed up and maybe around 50% of them died?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will relay that information. I can't guarantee that his gang died, or if they were all there. But at least around 50 neonates got slaughtered. Amongst them was the Rake.
This could be a problem, Zantz. The Rake had one of the The biggest, one of the most powerful gangs in LA. If he died, there could be power vacuum, no?
Are you familiar with the Rake's territory?
I couldn't say. Most of the lower Bruja Gangrel gangs scrapped amongst themselves. It changed from night to night.
Then perhaps I should do some searching.
I never thought of Vampire as being the sort of subtle antagonist game, weird as it sounds. Although, Evil Chronicle definitely, but subtle antagonist, like versus the other players. Although, given the people I typically play with, I feel like I have a little bit of defense.
I've pointed out before that our games of Demon and Werewolf tend to go smoother because there is a somewhat antagonistic nature within Vampire, even if you're not actually mad at the other players. Just due to, I feel like Vampire, everybody is an individual who typically has their own desires and machinations, whereas, at least in Demon and Werewolf, when we played them, there is some kind of group effort or goal put in that built into the game itself.
Maybe. Although to be fair, we kind of play Demon weird.
Yeah.
Like,
we were very cooperative with each other, despite being from different sects of demons.
Like your shiny Mewy, how's it going? You'll have to yell a little louder. Adam isn't here tonight. But that is 100% true, Valernos. Oh fuck, my train of thought just Oh yeah, but I think Demon expects you to be that tormented fallen angel a little bit more, and like most of our guys don't play it like that. Tom took the aspect of being the embodiment of immortal evil and decided, what if I was addicted to coffee? Also, if you look at like the NPCs, like I have City of Angels on the thing, and most of the NPCs are like super shitty people. They're like at 7-8 torment on average. Now, it's interesting that they start player characters significantly lower than that, so maybe they intend for you to sort of be that counterpoint, that to be like the guys, okay guys, I know we're all mad at God here, but what if we actually did our jobs instead? I don't know. And that's kind of... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say part of it is because at least Xavier and Tom's characters they're part of the faction that want to actually get back into heaven.
Yeah, they are the Phoenix in our strange Goetia. But I don't know, like that's one of the kind of issues I've had with Demon is pegging down the themes of the game. Like Demon doesn't necessarily lean towards one way, and when it does lean, it feels like it kind of wants to be Vampire too. And like I'm trying to find more ways to inject more fucking like metal into the game, but like I said, our demons are weirdly good people for demons.
Sometimes for the wrong reasons, but good people.
Yes, if the Rake's gang were to splinter, that could cause problems. On the other hand, what a hell of a demonstration from Mr. McNeil.
Well, Louis, I do believe we've had a rather fruitful conversation.
I should hope so, Mr. Zantz. I tire of what this domain has become. Perhaps, finally, we have reached some sort of resolution, though I dare not get my hopes up.
How long have you lived, Louis? 300, 400 years?
Oh, I'm not so old. I've been here a while, but I am I am not one of the truly ancient Ventru, I can tell you that.
You're not nearly hypocritical nor abrasive enough, I will say, but I think you live long enough to know that not just amongst the kindred, but amongst the kind, conflict tends to be the way of things. I hope to instill some stability within the city, but I do not have my doubts, and I will always continue to make my preparations for when that stability is threatened.
This to me is natural. I do not know that
Yes.
there can be such a thing as peace among predators. But better than this? Better than what we have now? This is a low bar to climb, Monsieur Zantz. I think you agree.
Oh, yes. I can only imagine what thing my clan did not prepare me for is going to happen after this, though. Yeah, financial stability 100%, Yusuf. You can't make money when everything's in turmoil.
Mixing a mage and a vampire together, that's an interesting outlook. I don't know that Demon necessarily supports that mage side of things, because mage was always about the hubris of trying to change your world and then the unexpected backlash that happens from it. Not necessarily via paradox, although that's the direct blunt instrument of the theme, but also the story going in unexpected directions. And demons don't really have to deal with that. It's more like they get super powerful lores, which are like disciplines plus, that they can just control things the way they want. They can enslave people the way they want. And like I said, it feels like they were trying to do vampire again. And that's what's always kind of made it mesh less for me. It's still way better than Demon the Descent, because how fucking boring do you have to be to take the eternal battle between good and evil and boil it down to, hey, what if they were all spies? But I don't know, like Demon just always felt like another vampire to me, and I'm trying to differentiate a little bit. The Descent is the Chronicles of Darkness version, yes. And it was the one White Wolf game that I've picked up and read through, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to run this. This seems boring as shit. Yeah, the demons are all like James Bond, plotting against like super over demiurge god, and it's like, I could see how that'd be somebody's bag. It's definitely an interesting twist to put on it, and I would read that novel. Do I want to run a game in that setting? I don't think so. I would rather play Demon the Fallen, where you can get the fucking flaming horse of Lucifer and ride with a fucking possessed devil sword at your side.
Also made out of Lucifer. No, just thinking to what Mark Zantz just said, he's gonna be so pissed off if he makes it to Modern Knights and the Quaijin come, and he's gonna just be like, God fucking damn it. How many weird things are there? Fucking vampires that don't have regular vampire rules. He's gonna be so pissed. He's like, the werewolves and ghosts are one thing, but vampires that...
But not vampires, come on. Now you're just screwing with me.
He's like, what's next? Fucking mummies?
I've actually always wanted to try Chronicles, because usually with Chronicles, the game is just different enough to be its own experience. Vampire the Requiem is probably really close to Masquerade, but I like the way they set up the political structure in that setting, and all the different unique bloodlines you can be, rather than focus into this narrow set of clans. That personally I think it'd be cool. Werewolf the Forsaken seems really cool. Like, rather than, like I said, being werewolf space marines, you are a hunter. you're hunting spirits to keep the spirit world in line. That sounds awesome. Chronicles' version of Mage has more of this like Gnostic demiurge thing, almost like Cult Divinity Lost, that appeals to me a lot. So there's a lot of Chronicles I'd actually really like to explore. Changeling the Lost I'm super into because that's a super fucked up fairy stories I love. The issue is, one, we just have so many games on our plate right now, and two, every time I suggest playing Chronicles, there's a little bit of a pushback in the group. Personally, I think it's because Xavier knows he can't manipulate the system as well, but that's neither here nor there. That's me spitballing. That's conjecture. Although I know Tom wants to run Promethean, so maybe at some point we can do some Chronicles. That'd be fun. I'd be down.
Cool. Mark will be bidding Monsieur Fortier adieu.
Adieu, Monsieur Zantz. As I said, it has been a pleasure to count you among my allies.
And with that, I'll go ahead.
Let us hope this continues. There are so few that one can trust under the night.
Unfortunately, there were very few even before.
You know what happens when you tell X no, Yusuf? I said, hey guys, let's run a Sabbat Chronicle. Xavier said, cool, I'm gonna be a Toreador pedophile. That's what happens when you tell X no. So I can do that. Yeah. But it's not gonna be pretty.
So what was
how did she turn out? That was the one point I've ever seen everybody in the group just look at X and go, yeah, that's not happening.
Right. Oh, what was Fortier about to say?
Oh no, there goes that sweet YouTube. We don't make sweet YouTube money. We get $100 like every couple of months that just usually sits in our PayPal until we need some kind of equipment, or there's some kind of catastrophic system failure and we desperately need to replace something, or we need lavalier mics.
But as I bid Mr. Fortier adieu, I'm going to think of where some of those neonates probably would have fled to after the werewolf attack. Like what seems like the most sensible place that they could have fled to, considering the location.
So the thing of it is, if you were to really think about that, you got a big gang, right? Probably loosely controlled at the best of times, and depending on how loosely controlled, might even only be kept in line out of like fear or respect or what have you. That object of fear and respect is gone. They're probably going to fragment. They're probably going to go in a lot of different directions. Honestly, Vasil, it's because our we just don't have a lot of viewers. Small community, limited traffic, that's about it. Which, honestly, you know what? I don't mind so much anymore. I don't want to say I've given up on it necessarily, but I don't think that CAFCON is ever going to be one of those, like, big, huge, like, critical role kind of deals. It'd be nice if it happens, and I'm not going to work against it, but we just don't have enough people on the team that, like, are willing to approach this with a business mindset. And every time, like, somebody tries to help us with that, or we start making decisions from that business sort of mindset deal, there's usually some really strong pushback amongst the group. So as far as I'm concerned right now, we just kind of exist for the community. We exist for you guys because we love you guys. We love interacting with you guys. And if we get any more than that, if we get any bigger than that, then that's icing on the cake. But really, I mean, I've said it before, you guys are what make this worthwhile, and it's 100% true. Oh, God damn it, you had to bring up Raid when Tom is not here. He's the one guy that could have thrown out the fucking spiel. We don't want to be Matt, Pat, Glenn, I promise. We're never going to do that. Better have a small, tight-knit, like-minded community than huge, overly diverse with splinter faction community. I have to agree with that. I do agree. And like I said, we've got probably the best community I've ever seen. It is so cool to go on the Discord and see everybody interacting, everybody being friends, everybody hanging out. So, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with our size. We appreciate you regardless. I've never laughed harder than watching some of the highlights of your games. I've never laughed harder than GMing some of those games, so I'm glad we're both enjoying it. No Matt Pat, we promise. Yeah, so that's kind of the situation that you're facing. Once news starts spreading that he's missing, that he's dead, that he's MIA, that he's no longer able to keep his gang in line, you're looking at splinter factions. Okay, let's get one thing straight. We don't make this community possible. We sit here on the internet, we tell dick jokes, and laugh at Adam. You guys make this community possible. This exists because you guys are here watching our stuff, because you guys are coming into the Discord, because you guys are interacting with us. This is you. Everything that CAFCON has that's cool is because of you guys, and we make no bones about that. For the love of God, Josh, say something. I've been talking for like the last 15 minutes, it feels like.
I was gonna say, thinking of that situation, I only need one person to perhaps benefit from the situation a little better. And so, walking out with Virginia, I am going to instruct my driver to kind of drive back towards the outskirts of town, where people are probably most likely flooding back in. Or even better, I'm going to make my way to the last round and see if any of the stragglers from that fight made their way there and might be talking about the situation.
I love it. Like I said, man, you're always 3 steps ahead. All right. You peel away from 40As. Probably a good 15-20 minute drive to get downtown to the bar. You push your way in and the smell of whiskey assails your nose. The sort of, I hesitate to say rustic, more like cheap wooden decor everywhere, slowly rotting, slowly falling apart. The last few sullen dregs sopping up their booze for the night. No one really eyes you as you walk in. You do look a little bit out of place to some of the more human patrons. But those on the other side of the night know who you are. They know why you're here. And you're not entirely unexpected. Why don't you give me perception... Why don't we go with perception politics?
Perception politics.
And by the way, we've had like 2 dice rolls this whole night. I find that... I'm sorry?
Oh, no, go ahead. I was going to say, that just seems more in line with how this game goes sometimes when it's roleplay heavy. And it's going to be roleplay heavy when there's only 2 of us.
Well, it reminds me of something that Martin Erickson said in the World of Darkness documentary. It's like they came to realize that the important part was the conversation. And like what your character does, what happens. That's why they have the, if your dots exceed the success roll, you just succeed. Because it's not the dice roll that matters. It's the outcome of the dice roll. It's how the story progresses. It's what your character's willing to do, and it's that conversation that tells the story of that descent into evil that vampire tries to do. So I actually kind of take it as a mark of honor when there's very few dice rolls, because that means the story evolved more and it was less about just chucking rocks across the table.
So I got 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. You spot 2 people that you might have seen at the Game of Nines. You're fairly certain. One of them is a young, maybe early 20s Hispanic man dressed in jeans and a t-shirt. His white t-shirt is just smeared up to the other shoulder with dirt and grime and black powder, maybe, whatever. Like, he looks like he's been through the ringer. The other one is a young woman. Maybe Asian and just out of her teens. She's got a leather jacket on over a dress, and you can see that it's not necessarily obvious unless you were to know what you're looking for, but she sort of holds her arm in a way that props up the jacket in a very certain way. And as you move amongst the crowd, you can see that she's clearly hiding this deep set of gashes carved into one side as she chats up some poor drunken loser that's probably going to be used to heal up those claw marks.
I'm going to go up to the young Asian woman.
Okay. She doesn't quite notice as you approach. She's still busy working her charm over this drunken idiot, and you can sort of... There's something in the air, something between a vibe and a tangible force. Can I get an intelligence occult roll?
Do you want me to roll? I have 10 dots, and my specialty's in kindred lore.
No, you're good.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'll do it. It's always fun when I get to roll all my dice.
If you want to roll, you can, but you would absolutely succeed. You think that she's got her presence activated.
Ah. I gotta get that cross-discipline soon. We'll need to make sure this business doesn't work on me. Well, I'm assuming it wouldn't even work on me, considering, well, I'm probably higher generation than her.
More than likely. So simulating the randomness of life. Yes, you're absolutely right. There's a point for that, but there's kind of a time and a place. Like, there's a point where the randomness matters, and then there's an issue. There's kind of a time where, okay, it doesn't really matter. Let's see where this goes. See, Valernos knows. I'm the only person on Earth that doesn't know these combo disciplines by name. That's exactly the one he's talking about.
That's the one I want to get, Denial of Aphrodite. So whenever somebody tries to dominate your presence me and they're not at my level, they can fuck off. I can do the Wolverine in First Class when Magneto and Professor X try to recruit him.
I've always used awareness in combination with perception. So it's like a, hey, do you notice that something's going on? Versus occult is like, you notice something's going on, what is it? All right, as you approach, what would you like to do? Also, is Virginia with you at the moment?
I'll probably tell her to wait in the car in case things get rough. As well as she probably sticks out even more than I do in a crowd like this.
Do you want your driver to circle the block like you did last time?
Yeah, and hopefully none of the homeless people recognize me.
Oh, that's right. You kind of made it rain the last time you were here.
Well, then I potentially changed somebody's life for the better.
The guy that you sicked on Carlo, because I don't know if that's a change for the better.
No, the girl that I told her to fuck off and go take care of her daughter at home.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do nice things every once in a while.
Every once in a while, dominate can be used for good. You can just tell somebody who's addicted to heroin to stop. Usually that doesn't work, but if you're a vampire, it can. You're like doing that one scene in The Crow where you're basically squeezing the heroin out.
Oh yeah.
Although I guess that seems like more of a demon or a wraith thing than the way a vampire is going to do it, which is you're no longer addicted to heroin.
I mean, if you've got enough potence, you can squeeze out whatever you want. You might get a lot of other stuff out with it, but yes, you have squeezed out the heroin.
Thank you, Tuckwin.
His venture and our humanity. Here's $50. Now fuck off and get your life together.
That's the benefit of being chaotic neutral. Sometimes it's chaotic good. Sometimes it's chaotic evil. Arguably, sicking a werewolf attack on my own kind is probably slightly evil, but then again, those guys were killing people.
All right, you approach her. I mean, the spotlight's on you.
I'm also going to activate presence.
That I'm going to ask you to roll for, because we need to figure out how many people you're going to affect.
Charisma, performance. Four successes. I'm getting some of my big boy Ventru rolls in.
Which power are you using? Is this going to be entrancement or awe?
I was just going to use awe.
Awe, okay. So, that was how many successes?
4.
4. All right. You reach deep for the power of your blood. You feel the dark, cold, necromantic energies coruscate through you and then sort of wafting up through your skin, this irresistible magnetism. You feel it on an emotional level. You instantly, as it activates, you feel more confident. You stick your chest out a little bit, you poke your chin up. And as you do so, you notice that with 4 successes, the entire bar has turned and has their eyes locked on you right now.
I'm going to kind of lean behind the woman so that I'm behind her, but I can also see the man. I'm just going to kind of go in and say, why don't you go ahead and follow her into the bathroom, and we can get this situation over with, because I need to talk to her. She's clearly interested in you.
He sort of narrows his eyes. Wait a minute. Are you her pimp? She sort of... The woman just sort of looks confused and wide-eyed, panicking a little bit. Look, pal, I don't know who you are.
I have some questions for you. And I'm going to kind of lean in close to her and say, well, so why don't you get it up? I can ask my questions. I know you're going to feed on them. I'd like to get it out of the way.
As you sort of lean
But
into her,
just say
she
I'm your
pulls
pimp.
away a little bit. Excuse me, who the hell are you?
Mark Zantz. I was there at the Game of Nights tonight.
Ooh, okay. Roll 4 dice for me, just so I don't have to open my Onyx Dice app.
That is 6, 5, 7, and 2.
6, 5, 7, and 2. Honestly, with the power of your awe, she wouldn't question even if she didn't remember you, but she's like... She starts looking a little bit horrified as she looks you up and down. She sort of turns to the guy. Listen, maybe we should get out of here. You've got a car nearby, don't you? And he goes, hey, wait. I didn't know I was paying for nothing. So...
It's on me tonight, pal.
You're a hooker? Are you a hooker? And she just sort of...
Christmas special, I'll say. You never heard of Christmas in July?
When is that sadistic Zamisi plastic surgeon coming to Hollywood, Chaz? All those shitty surgeries had to come from somewhere. Good lord, you're not kidding. I didn't know this game is this long. Do you mean this setting, or Chronicle?
I think they may be referring to something.
Oh no,
they were
Tao
talking
said
about in the
this
chat.
is like a 5-year running game. These characters have been in play for a long time. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. We started this a long fucking time ago. I still have Murphy's original sheet. It's pretty yellow.
And that is what I say to him.
Alright, fuck it. I got all night. And he'll just sort of like stumble out of the booth as the young Asian woman follows. And you still realize that the entire rest of the bar is staring at you as they make their way out the door.
As I'll pull out some bills and I'll slap them in front of the bartender, and I'll be like, "This round's on me," so that way they have something else to pay attention to.
The few kine in the building will cheer in your direction. And from those who possess the beast, there's just sort of this knowing smirk that perks up at the corner of their mouth. You think you hear somebody mutter, "Son of a bitch."
I mean, hey, if all those people get drunk, everybody gets a drink. Drunk people pass out, vampires get something to drink. It's a party for everybody.
This is why you have 5 dots of Anarch status. Okay, so it is currently midnight. Did you want to keep going?
No, I think that's a good place to call it. We've been going for about 2 hours.
Okay, chat. Vote for who gets the bonus XP. I'm gonna award you 4 XP for this one. And I'm gonna wrap the Jabril. Yeah, I see, I told you. Tau votes for Tom. Oh, thank you, Vasil. I don't get XP.
No, I got 1 vote.
Oh, so right now you're still tied with Dracula. Fiero's killer whale with heroin. Freddy Sitar with the power move. Oh, Tau votes for Raven. He changed his vote. Never mind. You get 0. You were actually losing. 4 XP for a solo session. Well, it's 3 XP plus a bonus by default. Also, I'm awarding him a little bit extra because this was actually my first ever one-on-one session with somebody playing an RPG. So this was pretty cool. It was pretty productive. And I think this is the first time I've ever actually played Vampire the way it was meant to be played. So, cross that one off the bucket list. Murphy, Baron of the Whales. Alright, let me do the spiel real fast. If you like what you saw, like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you want to do. Follow us on social media so you know what we're streaming and when, because our fucking schedule is bonkers, and I'm sorry. I have put so much of my energy to try and fixing that, and the universe is like, no. Next week, Chaz X only game. Woof. That's a good way to depopulate half the city. This was cool. I liked sitting with one person and just focusing on their story. We did do a lot of like talking and digressing, but I think that's part of our brand. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Yusuf. That's what's important. Join the Discord, everybody. If you're not on Discord already, like I said, we have a fantastic community. And while we like having a small community, we've always got room for some more. So hang out with these awesome people here in chat. We have a looking for group channel. So if you'd like to get a vampire game yourself, maybe we can help you out with that. We've got a writing group because Josh and I and a couple of our viewers are huge writing nerds. And we could really use more people to utilize that because right now it's kind of like the rest of our Discord and just a super beam lord crap house, but we hope to turn it into something productive at some point. No worries, Vasil, buddy. There's always the YouTubes. Do you have anything to say to these beautiful people here?
No, just thank you for hanging out with us. And I hope you all have a good night or good morning wherever it is.
Chaz plus Tom Crazy a Bishop. I would 100% do a solo session with Tom because it would absolutely go 0 to 60. And I was
gonna say the session starts in LA but ends in Mexico City with Tom literally holding Bali by the throat.
That would be fun, actually, to run like a globe hopping archaeological adventure with Tom. I still wouldn't necessarily mind doing that chronicle that Matt Webb suggested it to us that one time. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember the particulars.
Well, the particulars don't really matter, but having you guys play characters that are more like Beckett, where you go around from domain to domain and just interact with different sects of vampires, different NPCs, I think that could be pretty interesting.
Take Zantz Industries global.
You're writing kid stories. They are all in Bulgarian. Would you like me to try and translate them? Yeah, I'd love to read them, Vasil. That's awesome. A Tarkus game sounds interesting.
I would totally like to read that if you post it on the Discord.
100%, Vasil. I have a lot of ideas for other vampire games, but I don't know. Two of them is we're juggling quite a lot. I would also like to set a game in Las Cruces. Because Las Cruces is so low population. The Masquerade would be so completely paper thin, and also there's not really room for a governing body. So it would basically be you guys getting to run the domain the way you want.
Until we try to extend our influence to either one of the other two sister cities, El Paso and Juarez, and we get laughed at by the kindred living there, and be like, "Behold, I am the Baron of Las Cruces."
Like I said, Prince of the Broom Closet. Yeah. Oh, and I've told you my idea for an El Paso Chronicle, but I have so many ideas that we'll get to at some point. Vampire is a fun game. Why don't you write for the Vault? Honest to God, I want to. Time is my only issue right now. I'm doing like most of the CAFCON stuff, and I don't want to oversell my contribution because a lot of us do a lot of different things, especially Josh, who just ran an HLC. But right now, so I run most of the RPGs for CAFCON. I do the scheduling. I upload videos, it gets pretty much in and of itself. On top of that, I work a normal job. On top of that, I'm keeping a weekly web serial fiction going, which 7.5 months, still have not missed a Wednesday. Pretty happy about that. And I'm currently working on 6 novels that I intend to publish myself. So it's a lot of stuff on my plate, and I've probably already extended myself. I do want to write for the Vault, and I would like to point out I do have a book on the Vault that I wrote for High Level Games for Beckett's
Beckett's
the thing I did. Beckett's Vampire Omnibus, I think it's called.
I was about to say Beckett's Fiend Folio.
Almost.
2 different systems.
Yeah, but if you get a copy of Beckett's Vampire Omnibus, I was one of the writers on that, and I actually have a credit on the Storyteller's Vault page, which is pretty cool. I would like to do fiction for the Vault at some point. I very much want to. And then maybe at some point, Josh and I have discussed actually doing like an El Paso by night for the Vault, which I think would be neat.
That'd be fun. If we were to do it, I would want to include like the 3 sister cities, as they're called here. We live in El Paso, and we almost form like a mega city with Juarez on the other side of the border in Mexico. And then there is like a very small stretch of land that takes you like 2 minutes to drive through, that then connects you to New Mexico, which the city that borders us there is Las Cruces. And so there's an interesting dynamic between these 3 cities, especially considering that El Paso and Las Cruces are for the most part very peaceful. And Juarez is Juarez.
Yeah, Juarez is not. Valerinos, to answer your question, yes, 6 novels at once. And the reason it's 6 is I am taking the advice of Brandon Sanderson, who, in an interview with, I think it was Shad Brooks of Shadiversity, he said that if he was to start... Now, Brandon Sanderson, if you're not familiar, it's a damn shame, because he's a pretty great writer, but he's also one of the highest earning writers in fantasy right now. And he said if he were to start a writing career right now, with the way the industry has, because it's changed so much since we lost Borders in 2012 and with the rise of Amazon and Kindle Direct and self-publishing, he said what he would do is he would write between 3 to 6 books. He would publish them all at once, and he would do a media blast. And I'm going for the full 6 because I'm probably going to have to pick up some extra hours at work so I can pay for, Facebook advertising and Amazon ads and stuff like that. So having 6 of them out is going to give me the best chance at actually turning that into a viable career / at least being able to pay for its own advertising.
I was gonna say it would make so much sense if we produced stuff for the Vault to coincide with the games we run. And like I said, I really do hope someday we can do like a fun like little El Paso by Night thing. Not
I'd
just
love
for
to.
vampires, but because we have our own established thing with demons and race in the cities, right?
Blitz Waffle, thanks for following.
That'd be fun to do. But then I was like, if I could draw, I would absolutely find some way to sell hentai for the Hentai Literature Club to coincide with that. But unfortunately, I
With
have
Vampire?
no with the Hentai Literature Club.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, I would totally produce Porn by Night books.
Oh, if they ever need a sequel to what is it, Black Hearts or whatever, contact me. No, but it would be fun if we had stuff from the Vampire Vault and simultaneously
Josh, you could write it. You could write the sequel to Eternal Hearts and publish it on the Vault, as long as you publish it by Black Dog.
Oh yeah, I was specifically saying, Glenn, that it'd be funny if Chaz was releasing stuff to coincide with our World of Darkness games by releasing stuff on the Vault. And then if I had the talent to draw, I would just be releasing hentai dojins related to the Hentai Literature Club at the same time. So it'd be like, buy the CAFCON literature. 2 very different sides.
Ironically, there's been very little reason for us to publish most stuff for most of our vampire games just because we've been using official materials so far.
Yeah.
Like, I use LA by Night and Anarchs Unbound for this campaign. I use multiple editions of Chicago by Night for the Chicago game. Demon probably has some potential, but again, I've been cribbing pretty heavily off of official stuff. However, like, if we were to start running, like, our own games inside our own continuity, which I would absolutely love to do, then I could see us publishing some stuff for the Vault, and that'd be pretty cool.
Potentials.
Potentials. But I think that's going to do it for us tonight. Moral of the story is join the Discord. We've got a super great community. If you don't believe it, you've got the proof right there. We love our people, and thank you for being here. I feel like I say it a lot, and I do say it a lot. I hope it doesn't ever sound like I'm being insincere, because I really do appreciate having you guys here. You know, I've always been of the mindset that I, as a storyteller, am nothing without the players that come to play my game. Because then, what good is it? And similarly, as a streamer, what we do does not fucking matter. It's worth a shit. It literally is worthless without you guys being here to come watch it and interact with us, and you really make spending this time enjoyable for us. So I hope every one of you have a great night or day or whatever hell is coming up for you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and we are privileged to have you in multiple ways. Did you want to say goodnight, or?
Yeah, and good night.
All right, thanks for following us, Blix Waffle. I'm pretty sure I've seen you here before. I'm surprised you weren't following us before, but that's okay. The future is what counts. We appreciate you. Good night, Freddy. Thanks for being here, buddy. Good night, everybody. If I haven't greeted you personally, I do so now. No worries, buddy. Good night, Mazzy. Good night, Vasil. Give our best to Nelly. And have a good one.